Hi, my name is Anna Ziegler-Less, and I'm a script supervisor in the film and TV industry. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what I do and how I got there. So, I'll start with how I got to where I am. So, I started doing this during my graduate program at Columbia College in Chicago. Um, I did a lot of student films there. I went there for directing and screenwriting, actually. Definitely for script supervising, you do not need to go to film school to do what I do. I'll get into more about how you go about doing that. But anyway, at Columbia, nobody wanted to do the script supervising job. But one thing that I really enjoyed is that you got to be in the middle of the action if you want. So I uh, just really wanted to be involved and get a lot more experience. One thing about the script supervisor is you sit right next to the director, and at the time I was like, yeah, sit next to the director. And to this day, I'm like, yeah, the director. But by day 9, you're like, oh, the director. Actually, it depends on the director. They're all have their things. So anyway, I started doing student films for free, which I would highly recommend to anybody who wants to do any job on the film crew. After that, I moved to very low budget independent feature films. One thing about them is that they are grueling, long hours, and you don't get paid the best, but you get a real sense of family out of the crew. And even now, some of them are my lifetime friends. Um, so my big break, if you will, came while doing a commercial for the Illinois Lottery. Even now, they only have a handful of script supervisors in Chicago. I got lucky enough to be chosen because the other union script supervisors were all taken doing other jobs. So from there, I got put on the radar and I was trained on the set of Chicago PD. And eventually, I landed my full time spot at Empire, which just finished its 6th season. So, anyway, 3 things I have to do every day when I go to work. 4th, if you want to count just showing up, which is a real thing. The first and most important job that I have is keeping continuity on screen.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What are you drinking right now?
I am drinking water. What are you drinking?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What are you drinking right now?
Water.
Did you spot the difference there? I'm going to cut together a little bit more and see if any of you can get it.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. What are you drinking?
Water. What are you drinking?
So did you catch that Hadley picked up the cup with the wrong hand? Things like that you catch in movies, that's a script supervisor. Except for that Game of Thrones thing, that doesn't count. There's a million people looking at that cut. It went through the script supervisor, every department looking at the monitors on the day. You have the editors looking at it, then it has to go through the producers, the director, and then it has to go through network. I mean, they have enough money to make dragons. So I think they could have taken out that Starbucks cup. The second job that I have is I make notes for the editors. So for the pace of Empire, it was almost impossible to make crazy detailed notes. But the shorthand that I make for them at Empire, it really depends by job what each editing team wants. Some of them want, I don't know. There's some crazy examples, but what I've worked out with the editing team seems to work, so they understand. The last thing that I do is I make progress reports for the studio or the producers. So I determine the time for everything. One of the things I do in my pre-production work is I have to time scripts. In fact, on this other TV show that I'm about to do a pilot on, my timing came in as too long, but I insisted that because they have 4 musical numbers and 60 pages, that it's bound and determined to be at least 55 minutes. They didn't like that, but I had to tell them that's my professional work. That's what I think it'll be. And it's hard to determine because I've never heard any of the actors deliver their lines, and so you don't know how fast or slow they're going to talk. For example, when I did Empire, I could count on Terrence Howard adding a good 20 more seconds to a scene because he just talks and he goes offline quite a bit. And that's cool, and that works, and that's his artistry. So part of this on set, keeping the time, it's my job to honestly give accurate times for lunch breaks and wrap times. So even if it's a minute over, it's my job to report it. And that's something that, ties into the union, that if we go a minute over, production has to pay for that extra time they kept us on set. So sometimes it can get a little crazy with the producers. So something else I guess I should point out being a script supervisor is that our job is one of the few, I guess you would lump us in with camera and sound, but have drastically changed in terms of how we do our job in terms of medium. Because, obviously back in early in golden Hollywood, you didn't have computers, but everything was done by paper and pencil. And then we haven't fully transitioned to a full digital platform necessity, but it's something that productions have all started to request of their script supervisors. So I do work on a specific program called Scripty. There's another one called Scarrett, which has a pretty cool history, but if I had my choice, I would probably be doing pencil and paper because I just feel that I remember things a lot better. I remember, it's just working as a script supervisor, it keeps my concentration to write things down and not type it up. And that's what the industry has turned into. It's, 3-4 cameras at a time, and you just run and gun. One of the things that I'm most proud about being a script supervisor is that it is one of 2 jobs in early and golden Hollywood that women were allowed to work, the other being inkers and tracers in animation. At the time, the work of the script supervisor was seen as secretarial, but more and more stories have come to light about how influential these women really were on set. And unfortunately, their names have been lost in time because nobody ever gave them credit. And I guess last thing, since I am gone, a few months at a time, or in the case of Empire, I'm gone 2 weeks at a time. My family and the kids, they have grown up knowing that this is my job. I went to graduate school when my second child was 8 months old. So, the times apart can be a little sad and anxious, but overall they understand what I do. And I think they're proud. But they also enjoy coming to visit me on set. So that's also fun. So that's what I have about being a script supervisor. Hope you guys have a good day.